the technology industry, is it normal if the company have intelligence for spy their competitor? Thank you.
Yang terakhir tadi, Mak.
Is it normal if the company have spy for intelligence their competitor?
Oh, I see. Spying their James Bond, yeah. Okay. Okay, the first one actually, if you have invention, is it which one is best? You keep it and then you start your company, or you just bring to the company and let them.
A lot. Okay, well, it all depends. Okay, everybody thinks that they have inventions. Everybody thinks they are better than everybody else's. So sometimes it's true, but more times it's not true. More times the things are already being done by somebody else's. Surprisingly. So if you think, okay, the West invented a sailboat, actually they have made mistake. Okay. The Chinese people developed, they already have sailboat, okay, 1,000 years earlier. So you have to be careful, okay, with the world is more interconnected. You'll be surprised that every time you come up with an idea, they already have 1,000 people have the same idea. So very rarely the idea is very unique. So unless you have like truly unique ideas, okay, that's number one. Number two, very rarely the idea is feasible or reasonable or practical. Or even if it's practical, but the time is not there yet. Okay, maybe it takes another 10, 20 years before you can really implement the idea. Okay, so there are many different reasons why. Okay, you have to be careful. Okay, not to just jump in and say, okay, I want to start a company because I have one idea. That's like misguided belief. Okay, so the best way to do it is you work with other companies first, get experience, spend 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Okay, you get to live 70, 80 years old. So what's 6, 7 years, 8 years, or 10 years working for the company? And along the way, you're going to realize, are you really so capable that you can come up with all the ideas in the world to be better than anybody else, or were you just good enough to survive? Okay, to be better, to just be better, to be part of a bigger team. Okay, or is that something that you want to put your life and then just to work and do nothing else? Then you can decide by the time whether do you want to start a company or continue to work for some bigger companies. They will make you, have a good life, okay, have a good living anyway. So our competitors are some of the biggest companies in the world. So in cell phone, our biggest competitor is Qualcomm. So they've been in business for twice as long as us, 30 years maybe. So we've been in business only for 16 years. But that doesn't mean, okay, we are weaker. We're just coming later. That means we are arriving in the door a little bit later. Okay. So we are developing technologies that they're not developing. There are certain technology they develop, we don't develop, that's true. But we're also developing things they don't have. So we have certain advantages to go against them, head to head against them, especially in new areas, new territory. So for example, China, we developed TD-SCDMA in China, while they did not do it. So despite all the strength and the much bigger revenue that they have in the cell phone business, they forgot to invest in TD-SCDMA, but we did. So now in China, basically we have a head start. So other companies, the competitor, Texas Instruments, Intel in the application processor space. As you know, the Intel built PCs, and we built processors for tablets, for digital TV, for cell phone. So we don't compete with them in the PC space, But on the other hand, we believe the rest of the world, the developed world, do not necessarily need PC. They just need devices that can do PC functionality. So there could be a TV, they could have PC functionality. There could be your smartphone, they have PC functionality. There could be a tablet, they have PC functionality. There could be your set-top box, they can have PC functionality. So in a sense, okay, in the future, okay, this will be like in certain areas they will be our competitor, and then in other areas like in energy, okay, in green energy, this is an area that we are currently investing. How do we use our knowledge in electronics to solve the energy problem? What I mean by solving the energy problem is not the supply side, that's somebody else's job. How to do renewable energy, that's somebody else's job. But for us, how do we reduce the energy for lightning, for example? How do we reduce the energy from today by 50%, 75%, 90%, especially compared when you got light bulbs, regular light bulbs to LED light bulbs? How do we build these light bulbs there will have the right kind of color? So for example, you have these white lights, they save energy, but if you put it in the home, it looks terrible. And it makes everything looks cheap. Yeah, so people still use light bulbs at home because they look nicer. So we want to figure out how to use electronics to solve this problem, and along the way save energy. So those are kind of different competitors. Those competitors typically like all National Semiconductors, SGS Thompson, ST Microelectronics now it's called. Did I say National? Did I say Texas Instruments? And a few other startup companies. So our competitors like diverse. It's like the biggest company in the world, including new startups. So this is like we live in a very exciting time. So like where we are even though at the size of what we are today, we're still battling. We're still doing hand-to-hand combat.
Okay, and the last one is about spying others' company. Is it common practice?
Spy. It's not a good idea to have spies in other companies. Terrible idea. Okay, if you have number one, okay, if you get caught, guaranteed, and it will ruin the company. Huge. It'll be definitely the biggest mistake you'll ever make if you have spy in the semiconductor industry. But that's one. But the other thing is, we hire some of the best people in the world, some of the best minds. Some of the best minds have a big ego, and have huge belief in themselves. So even though, I mean, definitely they don't want to be copying somebody else's design from some other company. So they want to do their own way of solving the problem. Even sometimes what I find out is when we have people in the company refuse to do refuse to use the solution that already been developed by another group in the company. It's freely available, and often those people who refuse to do it because they have ego. They want to do it their own way. So even though when it's available, they don't want it. So I think spy doesn't going to help anyway.
Thank you. Due to time, I think we have only one more question left. Yeah, the gentleman at the front.
Thank you very much, Pak Sehat. I'm Trio Adiono from ITB. Short question. We need your suggestion, actually. What is the good model for semiconductor industry in Indonesia? Because we know that something like Taiwan, they have a model that they build their ODM, and also we have a model in China that government make a bigger project and then use this project to force their semiconductor industry to growth. And also we have a models that India doing only outsourcing business at the beginning. And in South Asia, we see that the model of semiconductor, like your company, like Qualcomm, is not growing a lot. So they, not only Indonesia, suffer from this, but also including Malaysia, Singapore. They also doesn't understand why in this South Asia this kind of business is not growing. So I need your suggestion and what is the good models for us. Thank you.
Okay, just keep it for a moment because there is one lady over there. Silakan, Pak.
Right.
Dr. Sutardja was an impressive speech, and the most remember part of your speech is when you're clinging onto the bus just to be a fair feather. I think most of us will agree for that. One thing though, so we all know that every company has ups and downs, and I was just wondering whether did you ever like hit the bottom part, and how did you manage to get through that? So you can inspire us more on that matter. And the second thing is, where did you get the name of Marvell? Because we were just a bit curious about that. And speaking about the name, we're also a bit curious about your own name because it's quite interesting. And when I read the article about you, and I was just thinking like, this cannot be not an Indonesian. So it's like Sehat Sutardja, you know. It's like, would you mind sharing that with us? Thank you.
Okay. Sure. What was the first question? Okay, I forgot it. Oh, okay. Sure. Right. This is the hardest thing to do for a country, to decide how to start. How do you start when, there's so many ways to start. Okay? Do you want to start as a software base, like India? You want to do it like China, doing low-cost manufacturing to start as a starting base, or you want to look at Taiwan to do funding the semiconductor research for semiconductor manufacturing. So a lot of these things are quite unique to different countries. Depends what's the strength of the country, depends on what the education system in the country, depends on the infrastructure, of the country. So it depends on many different things. It depends on whether what the government believes are in terms of providing the initial incentives, the initial directions. So all these things, it's very hard for me to make suggestion. If I make suggestion, it could be just from, I could be biased. After all, I've only been here for like a few days, and then who's this crazy guy making suggestion that's things are better than anybody else's here over here. So I have to be careful on that. Although I can say, on the other hand, we have huge consumer base. So we already have hundreds of million people that want to buy stuff. So they're already accustomed to this technology stuff. So I'm sure they will buy stuff, if it's made locally, if it's made with high quality. So one thing I can say is, me, Marvell as a company, we could help. We could help any local companies that want to build things. We can help them to build those, to help them to get there. It may take 5 years to get there, but we can help it. Because we have a lot of fundamental technology that we could provide to the local companies. Maybe we'll start with manufacturing. Maybe with collaborations with different private local companies to do certain things that we don't do or even set up our own design centers over here to kickstart the process. So, and you don't know which one is the right way, and we just have to try. And then again, as I said, trying and failing. So, this one message maybe. I know, we have a lot of corruptions in the past, and maybe still going on. Sometimes people worry, say, well, we don't want government to fund some of these initiatives because there's corruption, and we have to be careful about blaming everything corruption. So if the government comes out with certain policy that fail, as long as they're transparent, there's no corruption. That's just failure. We make mistakes. Let's accept we're going to make mistakes along the way. Okay? So as long as we learn from that mistakes and continue to adjust our plan to overcome that mistakes, we'll be fine. So that's my message. Okay, what was the second?
The second question from the lady is actually, have you experienced any up and down situation, and in case you've been down, how do you actually climb up back?
Yes, we always have ups and downs. Okay, as I said, the most important thing that we learned when we just started the company was, I mean, the most things, the things that we remember the most, yeah, was that when we got our first customer. I think, well, we thought we got our first customer. When we thought we got our first customer, so we have a company called Maxtor. It was one of the largest disk drive manufacturer in the world at the time. Okay, we finally convinced the engineering team to build a disk drive using our chip. So we were so happy. Okay, the drive was working, the sample was working. It was probably the best drive in the world at the time. Okay, the chip was running at 3-4 times faster than any chip in the world that existed at the time. So we thought this is going to be like a blockbuster product, but one day they had the new CEO came to talk to Maxtor, and then asked the engineers about what solution they used in the new design that they have. And the engineers mentioned about our name, and of course, okay, we were a small startup company, and he asked the engineers, okay, are they crazy or they are nuts? Okay, picking a solution from an unproven company. Is anybody used this chip before? No. Are they in production? No. Okay. Do they have money? No. Okay. Do they have how many people they have? 8, 7. So it's like I mean, if you are running a big company and you notice your engineers are using a solution from a company that you never heard about it, they have only 7 people, they only don't have money, they've never been in production, they don't have any operation team, they don't have CFO, they don't have they don't have finance people, they don't have quality control people, they don't have, I mean, everything in the world. They only have engineers. Okay, you will say you're crazy, right? You're engineers. So this guy says, okay, anybody want to put their neck in the line? Okay, nobody. If nobody wants it, okay, use somebody else's solution. So the next day we got the information. He was heartbroken. We were heartbroken. Okay? We felt that the world was collapsing underneath us. Okay, there was like one of the lessons that we learned in life that you don't learn in school, that this thing happen. Okay, sometimes things does not. The road to success is not always smooth. It fills with traps. It fills with speed bumps. And sometimes the speed bumps, if you don't take traps, if you don't maneuver right, you go under. It will destroy you. Sometimes you give up too early. Sometimes your investor give up. So there are all the things in the world that can go against you. Okay, and you just have to maneuver those things. And we learned the process to their process. Okay, and it took us about a month or two to get set. But we went over it, and then we say, okay, fine, just work harder.
And the last question is about the name of the Marvell. How did you come up?
Yes, the word Marvell came when we were looking for picking up names. We were thinking about names that we believe will be easier for people to remember. As I said earlier, well, I didn't say it. We also want people to think that it's not a geek company. It's not just any technology company. This is a company that they are sexy. They have purpose. Okay, they want to be the best in the world. Okay, this company will be unique. The company people will be able to remember. So we don't want lalunya besar sekali nih, lalu hijau. So did I spit on this one maybe? Why it's so sweet? Yeah? Anyway, lalu manis sekali ya ludahnya. So I wanted, we wanted to get these things to be a company that will last a long time. Okay, we want to have people to understand the principle of the company, the fundamental of the company. So we look at all the different names. It's very hard to come up with names that represent all these things, all the ideals that we just mentioned about. Until one time it came to my mind. I say, well, minute. Okay, there are plenty of companies that are successful. Okay, well, how do it sound like? It's a Intel. Okay, sounds good. That's a good company. Novell. Hey, that's a good company. Nortel, Northern Telecom. Oh, that was a good company. It was one of the biggest company in the world at the time. So I said, like, what's so unique about all these names? I said, like, wait a minute. They all sounds with L. So we need to come up with something that will sounds like L. Yeah, something L. And then I thought about it, and then it came to me. It's like, well, maybe I should call it Marvel. After all, I like to watch, comics. Spider-Man, right? That's Marvel. Okay, but I cannot use Marvel, right? So like Marvell. Okay, that's perfect. That's how we came up with the word Marvell.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sehat Sutardja. I understand there are still many hands and many questions from the audience, but due to the time limitation, unfortunately, we have to end this session. And I think there are so many inspiring, words coming from Pak Sehat this morning. Particularly, I think one thing that we have to put a very big underline. The first one is there are still abundance of opportunity for us, so don't give up. And the second one, we have to be focused on what we consider our strength. And that will be the key ingredients if we are to succeed in our work of life. So thank you again, and let's once again give a big round of applause for Pak Sehat.
Give applause to Dr. Sehat Sutardja and Professor Chan Basarudin. And that's the end of the public lecture with Dr. Sehat Sutardja. Once again, big thank you to Dr. Sehat Sutardja. And of course, I would like to say thank you to all participants and to all honored guests. I'm Argi Wibawa signing out. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pengumuman kepada teman-teman wartawan dan jurnalis, konferensi pers akan diadakan di holding room dan akan diberikan waktu selama 10 menit. Sekali lagi kepada teman-teman wartawan, konferensi pers akan dilaksanakan di holding room dan akan diberikan waktu selama 10 menit. Dan kepada